funny. My sister convinced me to take music in high school. And Mrs. Wendy Susink, was the choir director. She could be really hardcore, like very exacting. She demanded excellence from us. And then she'd also really laugh and be funny and goofy. So I like that she could be both. Like we could be goofy in front of her, but when it was time to perform, you got your act together. I think it was around my junior year. There was a lot of, a little bit of instability in my home life. So I was actually staying at other people's houses because both my parents were out of the country. So I was pretty much on my own. My older siblings had already moved out of the house. And I remember distinctly, she came up to me one day and she's like, "Thank you for being here." And she just, it was not, she just pulled me aside and she said, I know what's going on at home, and I'm just really glad that you're here instead of, you could be out and about, but I chose to show up. And just the fact that she noticed, while I had a couple other teachers who were kind of giving me a hard time, it meant a lot, and I knew that I could count on her.
I think the teaching artist that had the biggest impact on me as a child was my mom. I watched my mom do yoga and create art and pastels and sketches and paints while she was going to work full time and mothering and being a single mom. So I think I learned at an early age, though it's difficult, you can do your art while you're doing your real life. Any adult when I was a child that didn't lose the idea of playing. The adults that played, that weren't so in a box or narrow-minded or so serious, were the ones that impacted me the most. It gave me hope for being an adult. I think growing up as a child in the 70s and the 80s, we had this idea that once you became an adult, you had to be serious. Like, all your fun ended. So any kind of artist that was an adult that played and smiled and laughed and had jokes and made me feel like writing was not such a serious, bad thing or a punishment was a teaching artist that I admired.
I think I had a different mentor. When I was a young adult in my early 20s, I moved to Seattle, and I really wanted to, just kind of figure out where I fit in here. And I started writing for the International Examiner, and there's an arts editor and artist there named Alan Chong Lau. And to this day, he mentors me. He would tell me about art shows or exhibitions. He would give me books to review, to write about. Sometimes I would open up the mail and there would be paint brushes there, because I had mentioned to him that I was taking a Chinese brush painting class. So anything, like, he was paying attention. He didn't make a big deal out of it, but he just encouraged me with these, forwarding me photographers, links to photographers. He still does this to this day. I'll come home and I'll have like 15 emails from Alan with just links of different photographers that I should be paying attention to, or other artists. So he has mentored me for over 20 years. And he's one of the artists who continues to inspire me to this day.
I did grow through mentorship. I have to say, being the oldest child and being the oldest amongst a lot of my peers, I sort of pushed the idea of mentorship away. And I naturally fell into the role of mentoring other people. So it wasn't until I got older that I allowed people to mentor me. And I'm still experiencing what that's like. I honestly haven't had very many mentors. And the teaching artists in the past that did mentor me, I grew drastically just by observing them. I was a child who watched a lot and observed a lot and wrote a lot. And I learned a lot just by listening and watching and paying close attention. So I definitely grew by watching the adult teaching artists around me.
I remember a couple of times with my photography students. We were looking at an exhibition, and I asked them, pick an artwork here that you really like, and tell me what you like about it. And so, everybody chose a different image, and there was one that a few of them chose where there was an interesting effect where there was a lot of things out of focus and something really sharp, but more in the distance. I'm used to seeing it opposite. And then I think because they were so interested in it, they wanted to figure out how to do it. So I'm like, okay, well, let's figure it out together. So it was their prompting. It wasn't really a style of photography that spoke to me, but because they were interested in it, we all kind of goofed around with our cameras to figure out, well, let's see how they created this effect. And so I think my advice to emerging teaching artists is it's good to have a learning plan. It's good to have some things that that you want the students to walk away with, but be open to their curiosity and figure out, with their help, figure out how to address it, because that'll keep them engaged.
I think the most incredible lesson I learned from a student was one that I had a couple of years ago. She had a lot of obstacles. She was what we might call the kind of child you watch on television and you're thinking, wow, I don't know if that one's going to make it. But she liked to write a lot. And it was break time. And I had a death in my family. And I'm really honest with students. I didn't try to come to school and make it seem like I was doing great. I let them know ahead of time, someone in my family has died. I'm really sad, but you all make me happy. I wanted to come to work. And I remember her coming up to me saying, it's going to get better. You're not going to feel like this all day or even all next week or even next year. It's going to get better. You should write a poem about it. And I thought at first, who are you? Who are you? Talking to me this way, using my words, using my psychology back at me. It was just beautiful. The idea that here someone was going through all these obstacles and changes, cared enough about me to take time and say, hey, it's going to be okay. Basically, it's going to be okay, and you should write about it. That was a memorable experience for me. I think it was one of the times I really could see that the value of teaching cannot be really shown on a bar graph with numbers. Some of the things we do as teaching artists cannot be financially or numerically quantified. Growing up, certain teachers impacted me by reaffirming the creativity that I knew was already there. They inspired me not by doting on me, but by reminding me, hey, you're a good writer, or you're a good artist, or this is good work.
Donald Byrd, who's a dancer and choreographer, in my studio here, I have a lot of art from the people who inspire me, who are mentors and friends, like Alan Lau, Marita Dingus, Juan Alonso, Larry Calkins, in my other parts of my home, Romson Bustillo. These are all people who, they may not be known out in, or they may not have as broad a following as they should, but they inspire me. One other photographer who inspires me, who was here recently, is Ruby Latoya Frazier, who won the MacArthur Genius Award. And she started not started, but one of her main projects is to document her home and her community and the impacts of racism and health disparities. So it's personal and it's moving. It's like you don't necessarily have to go to someplace else. There's a lot to be said about the stories of your own lived experience, of the things happening around you.
A vibrant learning background needs the idea that the teaching artist is learning too. That the teaching artist can teach and learn, and the students can learn and teach consistently and ongoing. I think a learning environment, a good one, has lots of laughter and cheer and happiness. And I also think a vibrant learning environment has truth, plural, many people's truths, and that all the people's truths are honored. It should have some food and or cultural experiences. And I think a vibrant learning environment is safe, feels safe, and provides a sense of sacredness.
Have students working not only in visual art, but we do movement, we do music, we incorporate all these other disciplines just to keep things moving and to get that energy going. What I love about being a teaching artist is just the opportunity or the excuse to keep learning myself.
I love to see the kids' faces light up. You know, there's that moment when you can see learning happening and the magic happens. It would be to go back in time and spend more time with all the elders in my family that have passed.
Bali and Argentina. Argentina because of the music. And Bali, more for the visual aesthetic, grace and fluidity.